Someone commented that I'm way too hopeful in my videos, and to that I say it's better to have hope than to be despondent. Let's be clear, it's easier for me to be positive because I am abroad. I am an American living outside of the US. I've been gone for over 2 years. It's been almost a year since my last visit. This ability to stay optimistic, to keep hope, is one of my superpowers, so I will keep using it. In my opinion, that's the appeal of this channel, my ability to say tough things without making people feel disheartened. In addition to international news sources I trust, I spend a lot of time online looking for information about what's going on. I like to watch a lot of independent media, and lately these creators seem to be growing a bit weary. They're getting the information that we need out, and it seems to be wearing them down. The creators I look to for lively courage now seem exasperated. The ones I look to for a level-headed approach now seem despondent. So for me, it's important that I shine a light in the shadows and help in my own way. The past few days, I've been super frustrated about this executive order. This one was particularly frustrating to me because bringing lawsuits against this administration is now more challenging. Also, it helped me realize that these nonprofits bringing the lawsuits are likely compromised. Basically, the executive order attempts to reduce legal challenges to their policies. It mandates Justice Department lawyers seek court-required upfront bonds from the plaintiffs. The bond covers government costs and damages if a policy delayed by litigation but is later deemed as lawful. It's framed as protecting taxpayers and democratic processes, but organizations without resources may just hesitate to sue, even for legitimate claims. Secondly, the nonprofits that are fighting with us are reliant on institutional funding. Think the government and corporations. They're funded by the very system we're up against. How could they possibly be neutral? So how can this movement rely on nonprofits? It's just a further reminder that we have to work together. I could shut down realizing a part of this fight is in the courts and that the rigged system is worse than I'd considered. I could act like nothing is happening and just watch a movie. I could decide that I'm too busy to do anything and hope that someone else does what needs to be done. But that's not what I do. I'm the person who says you don't have a right to complain if you're not willing to do something about it. So I look for progress within the movement. Tesla stock crashing has been a good time for me. It's not that Elon's wealth is tied up in the stock. That's not as big of a deal to me. What makes the stock crashing fun is that he has loans against that stock. A couple years ago, I pulled out loans against my Tesla stock. You take out a loan and you pay a monthly interest payment, which is tiny. It's based on the amount that you borrow. It's how you utilize the value of the stock without cashing out and paying taxes on the gains. A few months after I took the loan, the stock started to fall. I decided to ride out the fall. But that was a mistake because the fall kept falling. And once the value of the stock that I used as collateral was valued less than the amount of the loan, I had to cover that amount with cash. So I had to cash out stock to pay the difference. I personally didn't want to play this game over and over again, so I just cashed out enough to cover everything all at once. Some of my colleagues, they didn't do that. They kept trying to ride it out. And in the end, they had to cash out way more stock than if they had just cashed out sooner. Looking at the value of Tesla stock right now and how fast everything fell gives me so much joy. Imagine how much Elon had to cash out to cover his loans. And the more he cashes out, the worse he made the value of the stock because he had to cash out so much. The worse the value of the stock became, the more he potentially had to cash out because he didn't cash out to cover everything. And the more he cashes out, the less money he has to buy influence. The anxiety I used to feel when I'd go through my emails when I worked there, he has to be feeling that right now. That's me being optimistic. Instead of becoming despondent, I seek out different ways to take action. It's easy to think that my input won't have an impact. That would be true if I acted as an individual seeking success with something. But if we work together, our success is undeniable. I saw Jasmine Crockett on Ever Heard with Evan Smith. She laid out things that we can do to make an impact. First, she asked that we hold our representatives accountable. We should demand transparency with them through town halls, public engagements, regardless of which party they are. Then we should support grassroots movements. Join protests and organizations who are resisting these policies. We also have to educate everyone about Project 2025 and how it's a threat to democracy. We have to combat economic injustice. We have to fight for our democratic institutions. We must resist these efforts to weaken the free press, education, and scientific agencies. We have to unify within the Democratic Party. I know it's frustrating, but it's hard to fight the system if we don't have someone inside it. Am I a Democrat? No, I haven't been one for a very long time, but I understand that our strength comes in numbers. We have to put pressure on the Dems to allow diverse roles within the party, to let people use their strengths in this fight and stop focusing on decorum. Our opposition is breaking every single rule, but we're trying to be demure. Dems with charisma have to get out there and talk to folks like Bernie's doing. We can evolve this party into what we want it to be if we put enough pressure. The point of utilizing the Dems is so they can use their committee roles to address systemic challenges. They have to go to Republican districts to create the bridge for those who are ready to cross it. We have to engage them with universal issues like healthcare and cost of living. We also have to primary the Democrats that we can't trust. People like Schumer of New York, Fetterman of Pennsylvania, Cortez Master of Nevada, Durbin of Illinois, Peters of Michigan, Gillibrand of New York. Damn, New York, both your senators? Wood Hassan of New Hampshire, Schatz of Hawaii, Shaheen of New Hampshire. New Hampshire, you too. We have to make sure we work towards the same goal. We're in a battle with the 1%. No one wants a government shutdown, but what we don't want is for the people who'd be impacted by a shutdown to have their roles eliminated altogether. So now it's our duty to primary anyone who is not working with us. We also have to get media on board. We have to help them grow a pair and resist intimidation. What would have happened if everyone had walked when the Associated Press lost access to the White House press pool? We don't know because no one did it. There are more of us than there are of them. When we work together, we have the most power. How do you think the Tesla stock fell? Shareholders made this happen. People working together to shock the price of the stock made it fall to influence change. Grassroots movements thrive when individuals contribute to the community. You can support in roles tailored to your skills, to your resources, to your capacity. Here are some key roles that we can all play to advance the goals that Ms. Crockett mentioned. First, you have your advocates and organizers. If you're the type of person who loves bringing people together, you can organize a town hall to hold local leaders accountable. Or you can plan a voter registration drive at the community center. Maybe you're great at making your voice heard, writing letters, calling lawmakers, or even showing up at their offices to push for healthcare access or fair economic policies. You could lead a campaign to defend public schools from budget cuts. Organize local protests, town halls, to hold elected officials accountable. Lobby lawmakers to demand action. Join or lead campaigns for ballot initiatives, petitions, or legislative pushes. If you're a natural teacher or good at social media, you could host workshops explaining threats like Project 2025. You can create Instagram posts breaking down why attacks on science agencies matter. Fact check misleading claims about tax policies and share the truth in ways even someone skeptical might actually read. Amplify stories of people harmed by policies like veterans losing VA benefits or how farmers are impacted by the tariffs. Join protests demanding accountability from powerful institutions. Track corporate lobbying efforts or document price gouging at your local grocery store if you want to be behind the scenes. Watchdogs can monitor local government meetings, track corporate lobbying, or even document abuses. Workplace organizers can advocate for labor rights or unionize to combat economic inequality. Not everyone has time, but if you've got $5 to spare, support grassroots legal battles, donate meals to protesters. Practical skills keep movements running. Offer to coordinate event logistics, provide childcare for activists, lawyers, techies, designers. Offer pro bono skills to these movements. Host discussions in conservative communities about shared struggles, or team up with unions, churches, or even farm groups to build alliances. Write op-eds about undercovered issues, or call into radio shows to bring Project 2025 into the spotlight. Sign up as a poll worker. Even run for local office yourself. Push to keep agencies like Consumer Financial Protection Bureau independent. Support independent journalists covering democracy threats. Boycott outlets spreading authoritarian rhetoric. Your attention shapes the narrative. Artists paint murals that contrast the billionaire tax breaks with the workers' struggle. People who make memes turn bureaucratic corruption into comedy. Culture shifts when we add creativity to it. Faith leaders, use your sermons to call out policies harming vulnerable communities. Sometimes the moral path isn't the quiet one, and if you're just a person, talk about civic issues wherever you can. I want you to know that this is not work for a week or two. Movements take time. It's time for you to get engaged and stay engaged. It has to continue until we rebuild this system. Society right now loves a good dopamine hit, but this is not the one. This movement needs your sustained effort. You can be bold or you can be gentle, but you can't stop. What's happening right now didn't happen overnight. It was done through continued effort. This morning, I was looking at the comments of my video. I won't excuse ex-Trump supporters because I was a flight attendant. I really hurt some feelings on that one. A lot of the comments came from people who didn't even watch the video completely. It made me realize that people who came across that video and identified as a Trump supporter, past or present, felt marginalized by the title. I definitely know what that feels like. It really sucks when you feel like you've done nothing to someone else, but they have a negative opinion of you. Now watch this video because my fellow independent, Senator Bernie Sanders, has something to tell you. Okay, bye.